Good morning, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's practice as we bring our hands to heart center, setting an intention for today. Got a beautiful morning practice lined up as we raise our hands above our head and twist the upper body around to the left. Right hand on left knee, left hand behind the bottom. Inhaling, exhaling over to the right side, left hand on right knee, right hand behind the bottom. Inhaling, exhaling as we twist to the other side, maintaining integrity through the spine as we sit nice and tall. Inhaling, exhaling one last time. Inhaling as we take our hands high, and then exhaling as we plant the right hand down on the mat. Left hand comes over the head as we this beautiful side bend. Inhaling and exhaling as we go over to the left. One more time each side. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we stretch that side body. Inhaling, exhaling over to the left. Back to center. Crossing the right leg over the left and tucking both feet in beside the hips. So we take a big inhalation and then exhale as we forward fold the upper body over our knees. You can stay up on the hands here, or if you like, you can come down onto the forearms, or you can even hug the knees and gently rest the head on the right knee. Taking some deep rounds of breath here, in through the nose, out through the nose. Feeling a sense of calm come over you today. Pushing down through the hands. I'm going to cross the legs the other way, so the left leg comes over the right this time. Tucking the feet in beside the hips. Sitting tall on the inhalation and then exhaling, forward folding the upper body over the lower body. Staying up on the hands if you like, or coming down onto the forearms. And hopefully you're feeling a beautiful stretch in through the glutes. It's one of my favorite poses. I feel like it gets nice and deep in those butt muscles. And what a glorious day for a yoga practice. Day 53 in our year of yoga. So we take a deep breath in, coming back up onto the hands, untucking the legs, and then pushing up off the right knee and right hand, coming into this beautiful side pose, and then taking the left arm back on an angle, opening up the chest towards the sky. Left leg is long. Switching straight over to the other side, coming up on the left knee, pushing down through the left arm, right arm comes up overhead, and then taking it back on an angle as we take our heart to the sky. Crossing over to the right side again, breathing in, exhaling, breathing in to the other side. Just adding a little bit of pace now as we create some heat in the body. And then coming onto all fours in tabletop position. Dropping the stomach towards the mat and then taking the gaze high as we come into cow. And then exhaling, rolling the spine towards the sky into cat pose as we take our gaze between the legs. Inhaling into cow. Hips are high, knees are under our hips, wrists are under our shoulders. One more time. then back to neutral spine. Taking the right arm up towards the sky. We're going to thread it through under the left side of the body and then resting our right cheek on the mat. Walking the left arm out in front as we get this upper body twist. Just taking a couple of rounds of breath here to really fill the rib cage. And then bringing that left hand back down beside the face. As we push up, taking that right arm high again. We're going to do 3 thread the needles here. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale. Changing straight over to the left side now. Left arm goes long towards the sky. Holding for a moment and then threading that arm through underneath the right side of the body as the right arm goes long this time. Left cheek resting on the mat. Filling that rib cage, that diaphragm with air. Taking a couple of rounds of breath, trying to empty all the air out of the body as we push up. And taking that left arm high. I'm going to thread the needle again 3 times. One more time. Inhaling, exhaling, and then back to tabletop. Walking the hands forward now, ahead of us. We're going to drop the chest towards the mat. Gently resting our forehead on the mat. Keeping the hips high. The feet are untucked. The toes are untucked, I should say. I'm just taking a couple of rounds of breath here. Interlocking the fingers now and bringing the hands behind the head as we stretch our triceps here. We should have a nice straight line from our bottom to our head. And should be feeling it in the thoracic part of the back as well, which is often the cause for a lot of tightness and pain and inflammation for people. Well, it is for me. Just coming down now, taking the knees wide, coming into child's pose. Sitting down on our heels. If you can't quite reach your heels, feel free to pop a cushion underneath your bottom. But just relaxing here. There should be no tension or stress or strain. And then walking the hands over to the left. A bit of a side stretch in child's pose. Filling up the right side of the body here with air. And then gently coming back to center. Before moving over to the right side. And deep inhalation, sending oxygen down the left side of the body. Back to center. Just taking a moment here. And then pushing up through the hands, coming back into tabletop. I'm just going to take our left leg bent, taking our foot towards the sky as high as we can, and then bringing the knee towards the left elbow. So extending back and then bringing it forward on the exhale. Inhaling, kicking it back towards the sky. Exhaling, tucking it under the body. Inhaling, exhaling, making sure we're squeezing the glute at the back there. Getting a bit of a back bend as well. Back to neutral spine, and then kicking the right leg back now. Exhaling as we bring the knee under towards the nose. Inhaling as we kick the right foot back. Toe is pointed. Toes, I should say. Don't just have one toe, or maybe you do. That's okay. And then taking the left knee out to the side and then extending it long. So trying to get the leg parallel with the ground. Bending it up and out, kicking it back long. Over to the other side. So taking the right leg up on a 90-degree angle and then kicking it back out to the side. Making sure the shoulders stay straight on to the mat. Just doing a couple of big circles with the hips in one direction, and then maybe turn the hands the other way so that their fingers are facing the knees. And give the wrists a bit more of a stretch as we do 3 more circles. Should feel a beautiful stretch through the wrists and the forearms. Turning them back the other way now. Tucking the toes and coming into downward facing dog. Hips are high, legs are straight, heels are pushing down towards the mat. Our head is hanging heavy between the arms. And then coming into a side plank, you can drop the right knee to the floor if you need to. Otherwise, lifting the left leg so it's parallel to the mat, sort of in this star-shaped pose. And then coming straight over onto the back to a reverse bridge. Fingertips are facing the heels, embracing the core and the glutes here as you hold the body upright. And then on the exhale, coming onto the left side, so planting down through the left hand, taking the right arm high, holding the hips up. Right leg comes up parallel to the ground in this star shape, and then coming back to high plank. Taking a round of breath here. Slowly lowering the body. Arms are going to go out to the side in a T shape, and then pushing the left hand into the mat. We're going to roll over onto our right side. Head rests gently on the top of the mat. Our left leg is bent up and over the right. Coming back to neutral, and then using the right hand to push the body over to the left. And back to center, arms down by our side. They're going to grab each foot now as we come into bow pose. So pulling the feet and the hands away from the body, getting this beautiful bow shape, and then gently lowering back to the mat, coming into downward facing dog. Walking the feet up between the hands, I should say, coming into forward fold. Folding the upper body onto the thighs. I've got bent legs here, but if you want to have straight legs, you can definitely do that. Halfway lift, forward fold, and then big deep breath in as we take our arms wide up overhead, bringing our hands to heart center as we come down into chair pose, taking our arms out in front. You can see there's a straight line from the hands to the hips. I'm going to maintain that integrity through this pose. Hands to heart center and coming into goddess pose. So big deep breath in. Feet are on a 45-degree angle. Arms are in cactus pose as we sink our pelvis towards the floor here. And then we're going to just add some movement, some fluidity to the body. Waking it up. Then big deep breath in, arms overhead, hands to prayer position as we forward fold the upper body, placing the hands on the mat in front, legs are straight. If you've got a block and need to use a block, please feel free. Otherwise, you can grab your shins or your elbows, whatever feels good for you. I just love this stretch. It feels so good. Feeling the muscles and the fascia being stretched down each leg. Coming into a side lunge now, holding for a breath. Back to center, over to the opposite side. Deep breath in and then exhaling as we come down. One more time. Twisting the body to the other side of the mat now, coming into chair pose at the back of the mat. Arms are high. And then taking the arms down by each side. This time, instead of releasing negative energy, we're attracting positive energy. So bringing that positive energy into our energy circle. And then slowly standing back up, coming back into goddess pose. Knees are following the toes on a 45-degree angle. Hands at prayer position at heart center. Walking the feet in a little bit closer as we drop the bottom and come into yogic squat. Maintaining a straight back. You can close down the eyes here if you want. And then we're going to come into crow pose. So placing the hands onto the mat in front of you, bringing the knees onto the elbows, maintaining your balance. So it's only our hands that are connected to the mat here. Breathing, making sure we're not holding our breath, but breathing deeply into this pose. And then gently sitting on our bottom before lowering our body to the mat. Placing our hands next to our head and pushing up through our arms and our feet. And this beautiful back bend. Really squeezing the glutes and then gently coming back down. My hands were starting to slip. It's so humid here, so I had to come out of that pose a little bit early. Now going into bridge pose as we take our hips high. Pushing through the feet. Then lowering the bottom back to the mat as we embrace our knees towards our chest. And then coming into an inversion pose, kicking the legs towards the sky, holding our bottom and supporting our lower back. And then slowly lowering the legs overhead. If you can keep them straight and touch the floor behind you, please do that. Otherwise, bend the knees so they are next to your ears. And then using your hands, you can see here I'm a long way off the floor. So I'm just using my hands to gently push the body a little bit further until I can actually touch the floor. And eventually I get it. There we go. And then coming out of this inversion pose very slowly, releasing the bottom so it's gently coming back to the mat. Hopefully a little bit more elegant than what I did. Bringing our feet out wide now, letting our knees fall heavy. You can have your palms face up or face down, whatever feels good for you. Just taking some deep breaths here. Slowing down the breath, slowing down the thoughts. And just feeling this deeper sense of connection come over you like a blanket as you seek that oneness that so many of us search for in life, that connection of body, mind, and spirit. And to have that oneness is to love and accept yourself as a whole. The good bits, the messy bits, the not so good bits. If you don't love it all, you don't get to love yourself wholly. So it's really important to make that connection and be aware and be kinder to yourself. You are a miracle. It's a miracle that you're here on this planet at this time. So don't ever forget that. Don't ever dim your light, because the world needs more light bearers right now. And this is an opportunity for you to step into that light and be the person you've always wanted to be. So never forget who you are at the core and what you're here on this planet to do. As we bring some movement back into the body now, maybe giving a stretch and then bringing hands to prayer position, staying in the lion position, but putting our hands at our third eye. May we have kind and loving thoughts today. As we lower them to our lips, may we speak kind and loving words today. As we lower our hands to our heart space, may we have kind and loving intentions today. And maintaining connection with the mat right now in this lying position. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly as we close out this practice. Namaste.